Something I find very interesting is when somebody stops doing something they once loved. And that's what we're going to talk about today as I give you the 7 most common reasons that people stop riding motorcycles. And in doing my research and kind of looking around the internet to see why people are quitting, 1 or 2 of these reasons I actually found quite surprising. And they may surprise you as well because these weren't even things I was honestly thinking about. But I've actually been there before too, so I can share a little bit of personal experience with y'all as well. And so regardless of where you fall in this, if you've stopped for a while, maybe you've taken an extended break, maybe you're considering quitting motorcycles altogether, hopefully something in this video will re-pique your interest, if that's even a word, or make you gain interest in motorcycles again, because something you don't want is loads of people quitting motorcycles when we're already a small minority of the people on the road. We want to get more people into this. So again, as we go along through each one of these points, I'll shed a little bit of light on why people are quitting and maybe a little bit of counter to that to help you out if this is something that you're going through as well. And of course, I want to hear your opinion after the video. Agree, disagree, doesn't matter, but let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, one of the most common reasons I found that people are quitting motorcycles is not really surprising. That's family, right? They have a child, and this is something that actually I knew a guy that quit because of family, and he had his first child, and his wife was okay with it all the way up until the point that she delivered and she realized, hey, you're taking an unnecessary risk when you have a perfectly nice car. I want you to get rid of the thing. No matter what brand of motorcycle you like, or if you're a new, returning, or veteran rider, I think one thing we can all agree on is that motorcycles are awesome, but motorcycles you can win are even better, and that's why I'm giving y'all a chance to win the 2020 Harley Davidson Iron 883. The first model Harley that I ever purchased for myself, and let me tell you, as far as a customizable motorcycle, one that looks good, sounds good, and is just a freaking awesome little ripper that you can customize to your heart's desire, this is the best motorcycle out there for it. Now, what makes our giveaways different is that we work with a small veteran-owned business. We keep the time frame small, which in return keeps the pool of entry small, giving you a chance to win something really awesome. So from October 25th to December 13th at midnight Pacific Standard Time, the giveaway ends. So you only have a small time period to get entered to win, and to get entered is very simple as well. There's one link in the description of this video. That's going to take you to Headshot Nation. That is the one and only motorcycle and gun community that are combined. If you want to talk to other community members, send me messages, start your own threads, ask questions, do video requests, get early access, ad-free, and exclusive videos, this is the place to be. Click the link in the description. That's the only link there. And again, sign up, 49 bucks. That gets you entry into the giveaway and of course the Headshot Nation. But again, you only got a small time period, October 25th to December 13th. After that, it's cut off. So click the link, sign up, and trust me, I cannot wait to give away another motorcycle. Good luck to every single one of you. When it's just you, you have nothing really to worry about. You know that nobody's really dependent upon you, and you tend to be a little bit more reckless, of course, and the younger you are, that's just the way it is, right? We all think that we're invincible when we're young. We start to mature a little bit. We start to realize, okay, we are not as immortal as we see, and unfortunately, it's just a part of one of those things when you have a family, right? A young family especially, you're like, dude, they need me, right? We are already, we're strapped. What were to happen if I were to be out of work for 6 months or worse? And this is a real concern for a lot of people. But there is some benefit there too, because that means that you respect the road. You respect what can happen out there. So already, without even knowing it, you're in your own head about the things that could happen, which will hopefully in turn make you a little bit more cautious out on the road. It's actually not always a bad thing to have a little bit of healthy fear when it comes to motorcycles. And if that fear comes from having a young family or a new family, that may be what you need to keep yourself safe. That may actually in turn put you in a parking lot for a few minutes a week, 15, 20, 30 minutes a week, to practice those slow speed skills. So you know that you're better equipped to deal with certain situations. Maybe you're one of those guys that throws your bike in neutral all the time. I used to do this even when I've had the channel, not realizing just how stupid it really is, right? And so you may realize, oh man, I'm gonna keep this thing in first gear. The hell with the hand pain and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna be looking in my mirrors. I'm gonna learn how to swerve from a stop. It may actually benefit you more than what you think. So at the end of the day, having a family is a common reason that people stop riding motorcycles, but it doesn't have to be that. It could just build up a little bit of healthy fear that makes you know, hey, I'm not immortal and I need to take a little bit more precaution, and also at the same time, maybe take on a little bit more training as well. Now, the other side of that is the financial burden, because we all know, you know, and I know, and you know that I know.
I mean, come on. I know you. You know you. And I know you know that I know you.
That motorcycles are not a cheap endeavor, right? They can be cheaper than cars. The initial investment can be cheaper than buying a car unless you're buying Harley Davidsons and Indian motorcycles. In that case, you're spending as much as a freaking Toyota Camry. But we're going to leave that one alone because I actually own one of those bikes and I don't want to think about that too much. At the end of the day, it is a big financial burden. It's not just the initial cost too, of course, you know, the gas, the insurance, the parts that you're going to order, the parts that you want to order. There's a lot of things that are encompassed when you own a motorcycle, and of course the gear is one of those. Having good quality gear can run you into the thousands of dollars. And so this is something I personally know about, right? In 2006 to 2007, I started on a Ninja 250, I went to a 500, then I went to a 650, and I'm like, I got this whole motorcycle thing down. I had my first child at the end of 2007, and so the finances went from very loose to, hey, we spend our money on whatever, to diapers, baby formula, food. I mean, you know, our own place. I mean, literally in the span of 6 months, it went from paying like $75 rent to, you know, buying a little bit of food or going out all the time, to having to pay our own rent, having to pay for our own groceries. And it was a total 360-degree swing, plus having a new child. The bike, you know, I think at that point it was probably $100 a month, plus the insurance, so maybe $150. It wasn't doable any longer. And plus the fact that one of my friends wrecked it. If you're watching this video, you know who you are, and yes, I still remember, but I forgive you. But he had wrecked it, and he didn't have any money at the time, so he could fix it. And I surely wasn't putting it on my insurance because he's the one that wrecked it. So at the end of the day, it ended up getting picked up by the bank. That was a 7-year mistake that I had to live with. And yes, it sucked. But at the end of the day, that's what happened. So I tell you all that because financial situations can change very quickly. Things happen all of the time. People lose their jobs, and people are, unfortunately, maybe they're hurt and they can't go to work for a while. They got to do short or long-term disability for a while, and that cuts their income by a lot. This economy right now, where you went from spending $200 at the grocery store to $400 or $500, and gas is triple the price, and it's just a disaster for everybody. Interest rates are up. I mean, this economy right now is absolutely horrible to buy things like motorcycles. We can change all that in just a couple of short weeks here, but hopefully we can rally most of the country to do that with us as well. The election's coming up. That's what I'm referencing if you're watching this video well into the future. The point is that we have financial burdens. We have financial crisis sometimes that comes up. And there's things you can do to prepare for that, right? If you watch Dave Ramsey, he can give you some really good tips on how to get yourself in a position where you can be prepared for emergencies, and it doesn't have to be this, oh, if I have one little thing that happens, one little mishap, one little, car repair or whatever, that it basically financially bombs my entire family. Now, Dave Ramsey would also be the one to tell you you don't finance anything, essentially, at the end of the day, besides maybe a mortgage, and you better only do that for 15 years. That's his whole philosophy. But regardless, there is a lot of the things that he does that could help you. And it's not just Dave Ramsey. I'm not, this is not sponsored by any means. It's people that can give you some financial advice that maybe buying a motorcycle a year in the future would actually be more beneficial to you, because now not only can you buy the bike, you can buy the gear, you can buy parts for it and everything. You can get yourself in a position where it will be a little bit better. So sometimes a little bit of preparation, sometimes a little bit of patience, which is something it took me a long time to learn, and hell, I'm still learning it. At the end of the day, can really be very beneficial to you. But finances are one of those reasons that people stop doing a lot of things, and motorcycles is for sure included in that. What about an accident? This is pretty self-explanatory, but sometimes when people get in accidents, they realize, I got hurt, or I got scared, and I don't want to do it. And I don't say that in a demeaning way, because you don't know how you're going to act until you have an accident, right? You don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what I would do. If I have a real accident, if it happens, you don't know how you're going to react to that. If you get hurt, right, the level, the intensity at which you were injured could play a role into whether you get on a bike or not, or whether your significant other will ever let you get on a bike or not. Right? These are real concerns that people have to deal with after a motorcycle accident. Now, it's pretty self-explanatory, but at the end of the day, this is something that I could sit here and tell you 100%. I get into a wreck, I total my bike, I spend 6 months in the hospital, I'm getting back on that bike as soon as I can. That sounds great, right? But not everybody is willing to do that. And I'm not going to down anybody for not getting back on a motorcycle after an accident, because nobody, absolutely nobody, knows how you're going to react until you have that accident. You may say you're going to do one thing, but it may turn out to be the other. That again is where training, situational awareness, seeing things hopefully before they happen can mitigate those risks, and just riding with a clear head, of course, staying away from alcohol. Even staying off of the road at certain parts of the night can really, really decrease your chances of having an accident. But being prepared and making sure that you're spending a little bit of time practicing with that bike can make all the difference too. Now, here's something that I hate to admit, but it is a big part of motorcycling, and if you miss out on it, it's just not the same, and that's the motorcycle community. Now, I spend so much time in this chair or in this room editing for both channels, talking about motorcycles, right? Occasionally going up, getting some reviews done and all of that, coming up with different topics, motorcycles in general, that I do less riding than I do talking about motorcycles now. But it's also about the community aspect, right? I had a good friend that we used to ride motorcycles, right? A lot. I went out to Sturgis with him, go up to Tennessee every once in a while, but he moved, right? So there's that. And if you don't have a good, solid community around you of people to ride with, sometimes it feels like you're just kind of isolated. And, besides the occasional biker wave to somebody that passes by you, you're like, man, this kind of sucks by myself. Now, there's other people that love riding by themselves, and sometimes I do too, for sure. But at the end of the day, community is a huge part of motorcycles. And if you don't have a strong community around you, for a lot of people, it just sucks. And they're like, hey, I'm going to get rid of this because I can do this in a car. It really depends on what your level of enjoyment is, right? Is motorcycling something that you do to escape the noise in the car, or to escape the phone calls, to kind of clear your head, whether you're with somebody or not? Or do you do it for more of a social aspect, right? You guys ride together, you're making stops, you guys are talking. I love that part of it too. I kind of like both ends of it, right? And I do a lot of riding by myself, as much as I can anyways, but I really like the community part of it as well. If I got out more to bike nights and Harley Davidson events and stuff, for sure I'd find people to ride with, 100%. Some of y'all have offered. You're like, hey, I live in that area. If you ever want to ride, hit me up. It's freaking awesome. You can meet people to ride with. If that is a concern of yours, man, go to one bike night. I can almost 100% promise you, you will find somebody that wants to ride and ride consistently. Traffic. This is something that a lot of us deal with. It's becoming worse almost everywhere you go. This is why I love going to Tennessee, man, because there's so many roads that I go on and I'm like, why is this road 4 lanes? 25 east, I think, is the road in Tennessee. That I'm just blown away. You know, there's a Veterans Memorial up there. There's so many places to stop and take pictures. It's just a fantastic freaking road. I love that area. And there's very little traffic, right? And you're riding up and down the mountain and it's fun, right? And watch the cops on that road because sometimes they're out there in force. Regardless, though, there's a Harley Davidson dealer on that. It was Kolbach, but they changed it to something else. Regardless, it's a nice area. A lot of those areas are nice up in there. Kentucky, all of that, it's beautiful, right? But then you come, you know, to the Charleston area or Myrtle Beach or, you know, anywhere pretty much in Florida or a lot of places in Florida or any big city. And it's just congestion, right? I used to come home every single day for a year straight. When I had the 2019 Street Glide Special, I freaking loved that bike. And rain, shine, 110-degree weather, 30-degree weather, all extremes. I rode that bike all the time. I loved it. It was my first bagger, and I just thought it was freaking awesome, right? And so commuting in the 1 year, I think I put almost 8,000 miles on that, 7,500, something like that. Mainly just back and forth to work. I never took that bike out of state. Back then I was working a lot and doing YouTube as well, so didn't have a lot of time then either, I guess, to be quite honest with you. But I rode that thing back and forth to work. But there were days where I was walking my bike down some of the major roads. I mean, and when I say walking it, very, very slow progress. Why? Because of an accident. Weekly, I would be in stop and go traffic, the middle of summer, on my bike, and one state in the union has frickin' lane splitting. It's one of the few things that I really do appreciate about California law. Maybe one of the only laws California has that I actually agree with, right? And that is something I wish would kind of spread throughout the country because I think it's a great thing and it keeps you safer when you lane split at speeds that make sense. Regardless, traffic is one of those things, it just sucks. I noticed that Thursdays around me for the longest time were the worst days. So there'd be Thursdays where I'd take that day off. I just take my truck into work. So sometimes it is beneficial, especially in the morning time when you can predict these things, or even in the afternoon. If you have multiple ways to get to your home, just plug it in on your maps really quick. See which way is the quickest way. It can keep you from maybe running into some of these situations, but it will not keep you, unfortunately, from the increased risk of accidents, because one of the other reasons that people talk about quitting riding motorcycles is texting and driving. Again, this is self-explanatory, but there's got to be a way to not infringe upon people's rights to do what they want, but to also keep phones from being messed with in cars at all. It is one of the most dangerous, irresponsible things you can do. I can't tell you the level of embarrassment that I have if I bring up my phone, and I really, honest to God, I try to stay off my phone as much as humanly possible when I'm in the car. I choose a station. Sometimes I'll switch the station that I'm listening to, right? For the most part, if you catch me out in my truck on my phone, dude, you snap a picture, that's going to be one of the few times that I was actually on my phone, because I will get embarrassed if somebody rolls up next to me and I'm sitting here on the phone and, you know, I'm holding up a line of traffic or something. It's just being courteous to other people, right? And it's also irresponsible to be on your phone while you're driving. And that's not me being a Karen, and that doesn't mean that I call everybody out for being on their phone. Even when I'm on my bike, I don't call out everybody I see. Maybe you should, but at the end of the day, people can do what they're going to do, but that gets a lot of people hurt, and it gets a lot of people unfortunately taken way too soon because of being irresponsible on your phone. So I completely understand. All it takes is, maybe 10 minutes on the internet to see a video where somebody rear ends other vehicles going frickin' almost full speed, and they were on the phone. They were on the phone, either talking on it or looking at it or texting or something. And you're like, dude, if I was on my bike, I'd be done. So that is, again, one of those things, keeping your bike in first gear. And I used to think, man, if I got one or two cars behind me, I'm good. But dude, I've seen some crazy videos of cars running in the back of the other ones going full speed, 60, 70 miles an hour. And you're talking about 4, 5, 6 cars deep. So just because you have a little bit of buffer behind you, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're good to go. But keeping an eye on that rear view at stop signs and stoplights mitigate a lot of risk that way. And the last thing I'm going to talk about that may surprise some of you, but you got to hear me out before you jump to conclusions, is inclusion of other motorcyclists. Now, I'm not talking about DEI. You guys know how I feel on that. What I'm talking about is introducing motorcycles at an earlier age. Trying to, and I think things like electric Harley Davidsons, the little e-bicycles, right? Getting that brand image into their name, or an Indian, or whatever you like. But introducing that early. Influencers, right, on YouTube are a fantastic, if you want to call them creators, I call them creators. I call myself a creator instead of influencer. It just sounds better. I don't know. Anyways, YouTuber, creator, influencer, whatever. Great for the motorcycle community because it just shows you, oh man, there's other people out there like me that want to ride. Getting other people involved with you when it comes to motorcycles. Our giveaways that we're doing. These things, I hope to God that we get somebody that eventually wins one of these bikes that doesn't own a motorcycle. They're looking for the first bike, and we can get somebody else just as excited about what we do. That's exciting to me, right? Bringing other people in. Movies, right? We had the bike riders, but other than that, movies used to be all the time showing Harley Davidsons.
I'll be back.
Right? Freaking Terminator on a Fat Boy, right? That was freaking cool. Shows like Sons of Anarchy, Mayans. There's just not enough like brand recognition or involving them in movies or movies about motorcycles and making that cool again. That's what we need to do. Make motorcycles great again. That's what we got to do. And just make them cool. Make it inviting to all kinds of people because motorcycling is and can be for everybody. And we all kind of play a little role in that. So hopefully I can play a small part in that too. And bringing awareness with videos like this, or just bringing reviews of people looking for their first motorcycle or getting back into it. Whatever we can do to bring more people in is a great thing. Less people leaving, more people coming to two wheels. So that's my opinion though. I want to hear yours, no matter if you agree or disagree. Why do you think most people leave motorcycles? And if we can come up with 7 more reasons, I may do a part 2 to this if you guys like this one. Let me know what you think. If you like what I do, consider subscribing, or you can come over to Headshot Nation. That is where I have combined the gun channel and the motorcycle channel all into one. It is the one and only community that has 2 freedom-loving lifestyles combined into one. You get early access, ad-free, exclusive videos, exclusive posts, and you get access to me and the community where we talk and share ideas and share videos and suggestions and whatever else. It's fantastic. I'll leave a link down below. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.